Home Studio Start Podcast.
Welcome to the Home Studio Start Podcast, where we make home recording easy. You know that feeling, right? You've got this killer track, maybe a brilliant podcast idea, or even just a sweet gaming setup you want to sound amazing. You're dreaming of that crisp, clear, professional sound. But then reality hits you, glance at Pro Studio monitor prices, and suddenly your bank account starts sweating. It's like the classic home studio problem.
Oh, absolutely. It's a hurdle so many people face starting out.
Well, you are definitely not alone in that. And today we're doing a deep dive specifically to tackle that exact issue, how you can get remarkably accurate audio clarity for your home studio without, breaking the bank. Our main source for this is a fantastic recent guide called Best Studio Monitors Under $200, Your Guide to Affordable Audio. It's by Rodrigo Marques, the founder of Home Studio Start.
Yeah, Rodrigo's great. He's been in this game since 1997, really focused on democratizing music production, making it accessible.
Exactly. His whole mission is about making quality home recording something anyone can do.
And that lines up perfectly with our goal for this deep dive. We've really dug into Rodrigo's guide to pull out the absolute must-know insights for you. So we're going to unpack why getting monitors in this price range is actually a really smart move. We'll look at some top contenders that seriously deliver. We'll clarify the key things you need to think about before buying, and maybe most importantly, show you how to set them up right to squeeze every bit of performance out of them, even the budget ones.
Right.
This is all about hearing the real truth about your music,
Yeah.
Making better mixes without needing a second mortgage.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Why even bother with dedicated budget studio monitors? I mean, seriously, most of us have headphones, maybe okay computer speakers. What's the big deal?
That's such a fair question because, why spend the extra cash? But honestly, these budget monitors, they're a fantastic entry point, a huge step up from typical consumer stuff. The main reason, the absolute core of it, is what we call a flatter, more neutral frequency response.
Flatter response. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means they're designed not to make things sound artificially good. You know how most regular speakers or headphones might boost the bass or the treble to make music sound more exciting?
Yeah, definitely. Everything sounds kind of hyped up.
Exactly. Studio monitors, even budget ones, try to avoid that. They aim for transparency, like taking off colored sunglasses. This neutrality is gold because it lets you hear what your mix actually sounds like, warts and all. And that honesty, that's what helps you make mixing decisions that sound good everywhere in the car, on earbuds, on a big system. It helps your mixes translate.
That makes total sense. Yeah, I remember way back I mixed on these headphones that had ridiculously boosted bass. I thought my tracks were incredible.
Been there.
Until I played them anywhere else. Suddenly they were just thin, no punch. It's exactly like Rodrigo mentions in the guide. He talks about a friend using gaming headphones for everything. And their mixes always sounded muddy or just weird on other systems. Because, those headphones were pumping the bass.
Right.
So this friend finally grabs a pair of these budget monitors under $200, and it was just like a total revelation. Suddenly they could actually hear all that extra low-end vibe, those weird boxy mids they were missing before.
Wow.
And boom, instantly better mixes that actually worked elsewhere. It's really about getting that honest picture, isn't it?
It really is. It's about clarity. And Rodrigo gives us really crucial tips super early on, even for budget gear. Focus on placement.
Placement, okay.
Seriously, this isn't just for audio nerds. It's fundamental. You want to set up your monitors and where you sit to form equilateral triangle.
Okay, like equal sides.
Exactly. Your head is one point, the monitor's the other two, all equally spaced. And super important, get the tweeters, the little drivers for high frequencies at ear level. That puts you in the sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
That's where the stereo image is clearest, the sound is most balanced. And here's a secret weapon, often overlooked. Decouple them from your desk.
Decouple.
Yeah.
Like separate them.
Yeah. Use isolation pads, those foam things, or proper stands. It stops your desk from vibrating along with the speakers, which muddies the sound, especially the bass. It makes a huge difference in clarity.
That's a great tip right up front. Shows how much setup matters, not just the gear itself. Okay, so we get why they're important.
Yeah.
Now, the fun part, which models actually deliver on this promise, within that budget? We're not expecting miracles, obviously, but something that gives you a much more honest sound.
Exactly right. It's not about chasing perfection at this price. It's about a big leap in accuracy. What makes a budget model really stand out is finding that sweet spot, a reasonably flat response for its size, decent build quality, and good connection options. Now, in this under $200 zone, you mostly see smaller drivers, like 3-inch, maybe 4-inch.
Sounds kind of small.
It does, but actually that's often a good thing for home studios, especially smaller rooms, bedrooms,
Really? Why's that?
because bigger speakers in small spaces can cause big problems with bass. You get these things called room modes, where certain low frequencies get super boomy or weirdly quiet just because of the room shape. It's physics.
Ah, okay.
Smaller drivers don't excite those room modes as much. So you often end up with a more controlled, more accurate low end in a typical small home studio room.
That's actually a brilliant point. So let's talk specifics. Rodrigo mentions a few that really hit this balance well. Maybe we can zoom in on a couple.
For sure. There are definitely a few standouts. One that comes up constantly for sound quality and just plain value is the PreSonus Eris E3.5 BT.
Ah, yeah, I've heard good things about the Eris line.
They're popular for a reason. Usually around, $110 to $130 for the pair. And for that, you get surprisingly clear sound for near-field listening, meaning listening up close, like at a desk. Plus, they have Bluetooth 5.0, which is super handy for just quickly checking something from your phone, and controls right on the front. Really solid all-rounder.
Okay, cool. Bluetooth is definitely a nice bonus. What else stands out?
Another interesting one Rodrigo mentions is the JBL 104 BT. These are a bit more, maybe $150 to $180. They look quite sleek, very compact. And they use something called a coaxial driver.
Coaxial, what's the benefit there for the listener?
Good question. It basically means the tweeter sits inside the main woofer. So all the sound comes from a single point. The practical upshot for you is a wider sweet spot.
Oh, nice. So you don't have to be glued to one exact spot.
Pretty much. It's more forgiving if your listening position isn't perfect. Rodrigo notes they sound generally full and clear, maybe a touch warm rather than dead flat, which is great for listening, but just something to keep in mind for super critical mixing.
Got it. Warm, not perfectly flat.
Okay.
And then there's one that's a bit different, right? The Edifier R1280dB. These seem super popular, around $130, $150.
Yeah, they are hugely popular.
But Rodrigo says they aren't strictly studio monitors. What's the deal there?
Right. He makes that distinction clear. They aren't designed for that ruler flat analytical response.
Yeah.
They're built to sound good, rich, full, very pleasant. And their big selling point is incredible versatility.
Oh, so.
They've got Bluetooth, optical input for TVs, coaxial, 2 sets of RCA inputs. You can connect almost anything to them.
Okay, so who are these perfect for then, if not the super serious mixer?
Think content creators, gamers, maybe someone who does video editing, or just wants way better sound for music enjoyment than typical computer speakers. If you do some light audio work but also need speakers for general use, and you value that connectivity and a pleasing sound, the Edifiers are fantastic.
Makes sense. Sort of a high-quality multimedia speaker that can do some studio duty.
Pretty much. And Rodrigo also mentions others like the Mackie CR3X, great for multimedia, and the Alesis Elevate 3 MKII, a strong budget option with a bass boost and even a sub-output.
Wow. Okay, so there's actually quite a bit of choice, even under $200, which kind of leads to the next big question. How do you actually pick the right one for you?
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? It's not about the best. It's about the best for you. Rodrigo really emphasizes this. First, be really honest. What's your main goal?
Like mixing for Spotify versus just listening?
Exactly. Is it critical music mixing where flatness is king? Or more general listening, gaming, content stuff where versatility might matter more? Second, check connectivity. Does it have Bluetooth if you need it? Do the inputs, TRS, RCA, whatever, match your audio interface?
Right, the practical stuff.
Totally. Third, space. We keep saying it, but smaller monitors are better for small desks. Measure your space. And finally, bass. Acknowledge the limits here. None of these tiny speakers will give you earth-shattering sub-bass. If you need that, look for one with a subwoofer output for later expansion.
That's super practical. It really breaks it down. It reminds me of another story Rodrigo shares, Sarah, recording vocals and acoustic guitar in her bedroom. She was mixing on earbuds. Classic mistake, right?
Yeah.
Her tracks were all over the place on other systems, too bassy, too thin.
Yep. Common problem.
So she gets some 3.5-inch budget monitors, chosen specifically for her small room. And suddenly, she could hear that low-mid mud, the harsh highs she was missing. Her mixes started translating way better. It just shows the real-world impact.
It absolutely does. And once you do choose and buy them, Rodrigo adds a couple more tips. Definitely check reviews and watch demos before buying, obviously. But once they arrive, listen to songs you know inside, out your reference tracks on them immediately. Get used to how good stuff sounds on your speakers. And seriously, spend that extra few bucks on isolation pads. cheap upgrade, huge clarity boost.
Okay, let's double down on those buying factors then before you even hit add to cart, because Rodrigo makes a great point. It's about best value for your specific situation, not just cheapest.
Precisely. And like we hinted, in this under $200 world, the absolute biggest factor influencing performance is size.
Both the box size and the driver size.
Exactly. Physical footprint on your desk and that main driver diameter, usually 3 to 4 inches. Why? Because it's all about how it interacts with your room size.
Right, the room modes thing.
Yeah. Remember Mark in his tiny closet studio? Rodrigo uses him as an example. If Mark had put big 5-inch or 8-inch monitors in there, the bass would likely be a mess. Boomy, inaccurate, hard to mix.
Because the room's too small to handle those frequencies properly.
You got it. The sound waves just bounce around chaotically. Smaller monitors, like 3.5-inch ones, are just better behaved in tight spaces. They give you a more trustworthy low-end picture in that specific environment.
Okay, so size relative to room is number 1. What's number 2?
Connectivity. It sounds basic, but check the back panel. Do the inputs match your gear? If your interface has TRS outputs, make sure the monitors have TRS inputs or have adapters ready. Don't get caught out needing a cable you don't have.
Oh man, that's such a simple check that can save so much hassle. Mark's story is perfect. He thought bigger bass, chose smaller monitors for his small room, got better bass clarity. That's counterintuitive, but makes sense acoustically.
Totally. He made the smart call based on his room.
So the practical tip here for you listening is get out the tape measure. Seriously, measure your desk space, check the monitor dimensions online, look at pictures of the back panel, confirm the inputs, match your outputs. Do that homework up front.
Saves you those, oh man, this doesn't fit, or I need another cable.
Yeah.
Moments when the box arrives.
Exactly. Avoid the gotchas. Okay, so you did the research, you picked your monitors, they've arrived, awesome. But like Rodrigo stresses, that's really only half the job, right?
Yeah.
Getting them set up properly is key, especially with budget gear.
Oh, absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
You want to maximize every ounce of accuracy. The two non-negotiables are placement and decoupling.
Okay, let's recap placement again quickly.
Equilateral triangle monitors in your head.
Yeah.
Tweeters at ear level. Angle them slightly inward towards you. That's your sweet spot. Get that right first.
Got it. Triangle, tweeters at ear level, angled in, and decoupled.
This is huge. Your desk vibrates when the speakers play. Those vibrations travel back into the monitors and also just radiate as sound, muddying everything up, especially the bass. You need to break that connection? Isolation pads are the easiest way. Those dense foam or rubber pads you put underneath, or dedicated monitor stands if you have space. They absorb vibrations and physically lift the speaker off the vibrating desk. The difference in clarity, especially low, mid, and bass clarity, can be stunning.
It sounds like such a simple thing for a big payoff. Rodrigo's example with his friend Liam really hits this home. Liam got budget monitors, just put them straight onto his wooden desk.
Classic scenario.
And his bass, muddy, boomy. Couldn't tell the kick from the bass guitar clearly. Rodrigo suggested some cheap foam pads. Instant difference. Bass tightened right up. Suddenly, he could hear the separation between instruments much better. He tweaked the angle and height too, but the pads were the game changer for clarity. It's like cleaning a dirty window.
It really is that dramatic sometimes. So the final practical tip here is almost embarrassingly simple. Get some isolation pads. They're cheap, maybe $20, $30.
Yeah, really affordable.
And they make a massive difference by stopping those desk vibrations. Put the monitors on the pads and do that final check. Are the tweeters roughly level with your ears when you sit down? Simple steps, huge upgrade for budget gear.
Wow. Okay, what a fantastic deep dive. We've covered so much ground. We started with why budget monitors are such a smart move for home studios.
That step up in accuracy.
We looked at some really solid contenders, under $200 that actually deliver. We broke down those key things to consider before you buy, like size versus room and connectivity.
Really important, that prep work.
And we hammered home just how vital proper setup and optimization are. Placement and decoupling, getting the most out of what you've got.
Absolutely. And the big takeaway, the core message, is clear. You don't need to spend a fortune to get accurate sound. These affordable monitors are a legitimate path to better mixes, but you do need to give them that little bit of attention, good placement, those isolation pads, to really let them shine and tell you the truth about your audio.
So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening right now? It means that real sonic clarity, making mixing decisions you can actually trust, it's within reach for your home setup. No more guessing games. You can actually hear what's going on. So the question is, What's the first step you're going to take now to hear the truth in your mixes and really elevate your sound?
Good question to ponder.
A huge thanks again to Rodrigo Marquez and Home Studio Start for the amazing guide that fueled this deep dive. His work really embodies that mission of making home recording easy and accessible for everyone. We definitely encourage you to check out his site, do your own research based on what we've discussed, and find that perfect, affordable audio solution to make your home studio truly sing. Thanks for joining us on the Home Studio Start podcast.